That Severino Giancola, the family members of Severino Giancola are also here, and he's a dad that also needs a liver transplant, and he's actually right beside your mom, Lily's room. So, and as everybody probably knows here, this is a very urgent plea that we have. Alicia, beside me, her mom needs a liver transplant, and she's in critical shape, and she could receive a cadaveric liver or a live liver. And we're hoping that Mr. Claremont Humphrey arrives here so he can share his story, being a live donor himself. And so we're hoping that he'll be able to come here to share his story. And also, I have the pleasure to my far left to have MPP Mr. Frank Cleese, who's been very active in organ donations. And I don't know if it's, you presently have a bill, but I'll let you talk about that.
Sure.
And so I just want to state on the onset that since we ran the story yesterday, we've had an outpouring of people right across Canada that have responded to help save Alicia's mom and any others that are on the waiting list. Alicia's mom needs someone that has positive O blood type, and there's people that have been responding that have AB and other types blood, but they still want to. And so it's through the story that they seen with Alicia and her mom that they're stepping up to the plate. And that shows that Canadians are not only kind and generous people, but all they need to do is hear the message. And they're asking me, what should we do next? What are the next steps? And that's really what they need to do. So it's really the message that's really important here. Canadians are ready to do their part, but we also have to make it easier for them, because most of these people that are calling are hardworking Canadians, middle-class Canadians that might not be able to afford to leave their job for a month and a half, because that's approximately the time it takes, you know. And some of them live in Sudbury, some of them live in Saskatoon. They might need help with getting here, you know. So we're urging the government again to speed up a bill that's presently on the table to help these people to compensate their expenses. They're willing to do their part, but they're going to need help in compensating the expenses. I mean, we're living in a recession now too. So we have to urge our government to do their part, you know, and people are going to respond. People I'm going to be showing over 100 different emails and phone calls that I've received thus far. So Canadians are ready to do this. And we're very optimistic right now and very hopeful that Lily's life will be saved. Because as we're talking, there's people getting processed. So that's very encouraging news. And we need to continue getting this message out, because more Canadians will respond. So I'm hoping each and every one of you that is here today reporting this news are going to give it your love and your power to really put a dynamite story together, because that's what's going to do it. We're going to get more people, and I'm the optimist of all optimists, because I believe that everybody on that waiting list can get saved. We just have to get the effective message out there. So with that, I'm going to ask MPP Frank Cleese to say a few words.
Sure. First of all, let me thank George Marcello for the work that he has done. George is a living example of what organ donation does. George himself wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for the miracle of organ donation. And his advocacy really encouraged me as well as a legislator to become engaged in this issue. And I think, to George's point, people are willing. When in fact the call is made, people do step forward, which is really what prompted my private member's bill, which at this point in time has not been taken up by the government. But we're going to continue to do that. It's just one small piece of the puzzle. My bill would require anyone who applies for a driver's license or a provincial health card that it would be mandatory to answer a question regarding organ donation. Not that it be mandatory to say yes, that there be three options that people have. One is to say yes, I'm willing to be an organ donor. The other is to say no. And the third is to indicate that they are undecided about the issue. But the principle behind that bill is to cause people to actually think about this important issue, because many people simply don't give it thought until, as in the case of Alicia and her family, a circumstance is there that now is a matter of life and death. And if in fact we had a more mandatory system that actually brings people face to face with this issue, then I'm convinced we would have many more people in this potential pool of donors, that we would have a registry in this province by blood type, so that immediately we would be able to go to people who are willing donors and resolve this issue. So I just want to commend again George for his advocacy, the government for the things that they've done so far, but there's still so much more to do. And above all, Alicia and her courage to be here today, to advocate and to really plead for her mother's life, which is what this is all about. And so, Alicia, we'll ask you to let people know what's on your heart today.
Well, first I want to thank everyone for coming out today to support me and my mom during this hard time. My mother, Lydia Sorbara, has been waiting for a liver transplant now for 2 months, but unfortunately she has had complications along the way. I myself, as well as other family members, have been tested to be a possible living donor, but unfortunately, due to my mother's rare blood type, O positive, and other barriers, none of us are the proper match for her. My mom has been fighting Wilson's disease since the age of 17. Wilson's disease is a rare disease that clogs the liver, preventing it from doing its cleansing job. Basically, the body produces mass amounts of copper that cannot be filtered through the liver in pursuit of a normal life. My mom has always controlled the disease with a very disciplined health regimen. Unfortunately, though, without notice, Wilson's disease returned last November, destroying my mother's body. In a heartbeat, this vibrant woman that I call my mother is in the intensive care unit at Toronto General Hospital. My mother is a single parent. She has worked really hard raising me and my grandmother, who also has Alzheimer's. She has truly been the best mother anyone can ask for. She has given me life, and all I'm trying to do is help save hers. So please, I beg you, help give the gift of life. Just imagine if this was any one of your cousins, aunts, sisters. It can happen to any one of us. There are so many people out there, along with my mother, fighting for their lives every day, waiting for a donation. We as a society need to come together and get educated to fight this, because together we can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia. Mr. Claremont Humphrey has arrived, and he's going to share his story.
Back in November of 2008, I was a liver donor myself to a little girl by the name of Jada Fairman. there are certain steps that you have to take if you want to proceed in this this area of donating your liver. I would suggest that you call the Living Donor Liver Office, which is 416-340-4800, extension 7594. They have all the information that you'll need that you can be able to be a liver donor to Lydia or anyone else for that matter of fact, because right now we had a flood of emails and calls, and we really can't give you that kind of information that is necessary. So again, I suggest you call the office. They have all the information that is necessary, which is 416-340-4800, extension 7594, and they'll be able to give you full information.
Thank you.
Okay, so that ends this part of the press conference. We are scheduling to light the torch at 1:30. So as we finish here, we can do one-on-ones outside, but we have to be at the McDonald statue by 1:30, and I'm going to get very assertive, making sure everybody's there at 1:30. So we got enough time for everybody to do their one-on-ones, and then we'll make our way to the statue at 1:30. And by the way, Lily's mother is going to be watching the ceremonies from her window at the 10th floor because it's facing directly at the statue. So with your cameras, you can actually see not only Lily's mom, but also the other family's father and other patients that are watching from their window. So with that, we'll break and sure, okay.
How many people have responded to Lily's?
Over 100.
Over 100?
Yes.
So, and they're all being checked right now? They're all being
As
checked?
Mr. Humphrey explained, we're just receiving the information. We're going to put that information in the proper hands, which he explained. And then from there, they'll be able to give them the proper steps to take because that's not our field. That's their department. So our department was getting the message out and inspiring people and now collecting the information. Now we're going to pass it on. And that's exactly what we're doing. And there's been over 100.
And you also talked about the government sort of helping to compensate people who are taking that time off to be a living donor. Right now, with the bill that was just recently introduced, now that was only to protect their jobs. Am I correct? So are you asking?
I'm asking to go a little bit further. I mean, there's people from Sudbury that it takes a long process, all the testing, all that, accommodations, transportation. And then there's other things that involve besides the job that accumulate expenses. A person's month of time is, you're taking, they're devoting a whole month. So we should look at the BC model. I think they have it right. And it should be up to about $5,000 in compensation. That's what we're asking the government to put aside a few $1 million, because that would be able to facilitate. We're going to save lives because these are hard-working people that are responding, and they want to do it. They just can't afford to take that month off.
People are on the waiting list for liver transplants?
In Ontario, there's over 1,700. In Canada, there's over 4,000.
Is that just for liver?
No, that's all organs. So liver is about a quarter of that percentage or a little bit less.
Could I just add as well with regard to George's appeal that the government legislation also be complemented with financial support. Not only is it the humane thing to do, but it also makes good economic sense as well. If we can accelerate the transplants, it's that much less time that people have to spend under care in our hospital system. And so I think while the government, no doubt, is claiming, particularly during these times, that it's difficult to invest additional funding into this program, the reality is that it actually makes good economic sense to do so.
That's right.
Are you looking to do that eventually, or what about
trying to get that federally done.
That's what I would suggest, is take this to the federal government, let them lay out a federal plan for this. Why not? You know, I mean, every province is facing the same thing, so why wait? BC had the right idea, because they had an outpouring of live donors at that time, and that weren't because of their work schedule, and they weren't getting compensated, and they found out that they were faced with all these bills when they came home. You know, so they had, so why not take it to the federal government? You know, and Mr. Cleese is right. Saving people from being on the waiting list costs a lot of money. Once they get their liver, they're back in society and they become productive. So it's reforming. It's a good way of reforming the health system.
Do you have a lot of examples of people who wanted to be donors but were not able to do so and actually didn't donate organs because?
Yeah, but I don't want to get into them here. Like in the past 8-9 years, I've run into lots. This has been an ongoing problem, and I've raised it. Everybody that knows that have covered my stories, and I've raised it time and time and time and time again. So hopefully this will be the time to put it into action now, you know.
Alicia, can I ask you, when you found out about the 100 people that have called in and inquired about helping your mother, how did that make you feel?
Well, it's a great feeling, because it's not only helping my mother, it's helping other people too out there, and that's the main, that's what we want to do, right? We want to get the message out there that you can help. So I think it's great. It's really a dream.
I just want to add to that. When I was visiting her mom, Lily, she was pointing out all the other people that needed help.
She was.
She said, make sure you take care of this family. You know, make sure, you know, I'm, you know, it's almost like two worlds. When you're in a hospital and everything that's going on outside, it's like a whole different world. You just, unless you've really been there and know the suffering and pain and all this, you know, but we can do something about it, and that's what's been frustrating me all these years. We can solve this problem, you know. So today I hope is going to be a good day, a great day, and, you know, we'll hope we can get some things done. Is there any other questions?
If you find a donor, how soon could the process take place?
In finding a donor, it could take anywhere between a month to 2 months, because for me, it took up approximately a month and a half. From the time I started the testing to the time I was ready to be in the operating room. Again, you know, when anyone who's planning and doing so, make sure they go through the proper procedures and finding out the proper things that you have to do, because, you know, I did the same thing. I went forward and I had to go through a series of tests, and, you know, sometimes at some point, I think what happened with lack of knowledge, people get a little spooked about wanting to do it. So now that we have the knowledge and we have the opportunity to gain the knowledge, so just call the right number and you'll get all the information you need and can step forward.
And is it just the blood type that's the problem?
For the liver,
You have to be fit to have surgery.
yeah, if you
Being a match, is it just the blood type? So
blood
if
type
someone's
and just the blood type for the liver. I think kidneys and so forth is a different issue altogether. But for liver, blood type, and then they make sure you're physically healthy before you proceed.
What about the age to age 70?
I think it's up to age 60. I'm not 100% sure about that, but again, the office will be able to tell you that.
That's why we encourage people to get the proper information. Okay, so is there any other questions? Because we got 10 minutes to do one-on-ones. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.